When I was about to start my own business, it was like making a drastic career change. From a banker to a farmer. My family didn't support that decision at all. Everyone except for my mother was vehemently opposed to this idea. Every day they would call and text me, urging me to give up on this crazy idea and this insane company and come back to work at the bank.
That's one of our special guests in today's episode. Hello, this is your host, Nguyen. Welcome back to the Descendants of Habachung podcast, brought to you by the United Nations Development Program in Vietnam. We're proud to be one of the few programs in Vietnam that shines a spotlight on the incredible women leading the charge in environmental and climate change initiatives. Our focus is not just on the amazing work they do, but also on the crucial gender perspective they and their work represent. How are Vietnamese women leading the circular economy? It might not be easy for you to find a podcast about this in Vietnam. We know because we haven't found much podcast content about this. I was so hyped listening to these women that they even make me want to start my own save the world sort of initiative. Nguyen is one of these women.
Xin chào mọi người, mình là Thảo Nguyên, là sáng lập
Hello
và điều
everyone,
hành
my name is
của
Thảo Nguyên.
Greenjoy.
I'm the
Greenjoy là một
founder
trong
and
những
the
cái doanh
CEO
nghiệp
of
tạo tác
Greenjoy.
động chuyên sản xuất
Greenjoy
và
is an impact driven business that specializes in producing and providing eco friendly utensils in order to replace disposable plastic ones. Actually, before I started my own business about 5 years ago, I had a pretty conventional story. I followed the typical path of attending university, then landing an office job. I had got a job at a bank, since my major was banking. I earned comfortably working at a foreign bank. After that, I got a master's degree in France. When I returned to Vietnam, I climbed the corporate ladder and eventually got promoted to a director position of a department. After about 7 to 8 years there, I suddenly felt that my job was a bit dull. It hadn't created anything groundbreaking. I didn't feel motivated to work every day. It was around that time actually that I came across a video showing a straw trapped in a total nostril. Honestly, when I watched that, I felt so sad. I was born in Khánh Hòa in the central region, where my hometown sit right by the sea. Since I was little, I went swimming in the sea a lot. Back then, maybe 10 to 20 years ago, the sea was pristine pure blue. But after I moved away and came back, it's changed dramatically. The sea became increasingly polluted, overflowing with plastic waste, styrofoam containers, and single-use items, and all of this other sort of trash. I couldn't possibly swim in that anymore. The pollution made me so sad. This true incident made me feel that I must do something about it. I then learned about alternative goods made from the bamboo and grass straws that could replace single-use plastic materials.
The anti-plastic straw trend in Vietnam began to gain momentum in 2018. It was also around this time that Nguyen turned Greenjoy from an idea to a reality. This has been the place where she tries out and applies tech solutions that minimize environmental impact in production processes.
Thì trước đây các giai đoạn sản xuất ống hút cỏ của doanh nghiệp mình thì thường là thủ công. Thủ
So,
công là
when
phần
we
lớn.
first
Thì
started,
sau một cái
the
quá
way we
trình
did
doanh nghiệp
things
hoạt
was
động cũng như là
largely
phát triển
manual.
thì mình đã áp
But
dụng
as we grew, we
máy móc
began
và
to
tự động
embrace
hóa. Ví dụ
machinery
như
and
là mình
automation.
dùng máy.
For example, we use machines to clean the grass straws instead of relying solely on manual labor like before. And when we dry the grass straws, this is an important point. We use solar powered drying machines, which not only save electricity but also minimize greenhouse gas emission. We are exploring AI technologies to streamline the sorting process in order to make sure things run efficiently and accurately. When we reduce manual labor in the selection and packaging our chores, we are not only conserving resources, but also making our products more accessible to more people.
One of the things that I can't help but wonder is that, of course, using technology optimize the production system. It also brings down cost. But the automation feature of some solutions might potentially reduce the number of workers.
Thực ra là trong cái quá trình mà sản xuất ống hút cỏ là cái bộ phận mà tham gia nhiều nhất vào cái quá trình, thu hoạch và sản
Actually,
xuất vẫn
local
là nhân dân
farmers
với
and
lại phụ
women
nữ địa
workers are
phương.
still heavily
Thì nhân
involved,
dân và phụ nữ họ vẫn
especially
tham
in
gia
the
nhiều
first
vào cái quá
stage,
trình thứ nhất là trồng
where we
trọt,
plant the
thu hoạch
grasses,
cũng như là phân loại
harvest them,
cỏ,
then
phân loại
sort the
những cái
good
cỏ tiếp
ones
theo
from the
để
bad
đưa ra nhà
ones
máy.
before proceeding to production. So, these tasks are actually ones that machines still cannot do. And it's not just that, we also have to maintain the grass fields. So, in the future, as customer demand increase, then we will have to recruit more and create more job opportunities. From a business perspective, there are certain stages where we work with the manual labor, so productivity is not high and it also depends on the skills of the workers. For example, in the cleaning and cutting process, if there are workers whose skills are not there yet, they might not clean the grass thoroughly. It means we have to use 1.5 workers for one job instead of just one, and it brings down productivity. But if there is a machine that can do the job with precision, then that's great. I mentioned solar powered drying machine earlier, right? Soon we will apply AI technology to the sorting process in order to add the traceability feature so that for each raw's use, our customer and consumers will know the production time, place, guarantee period, and the origin of the product they are using.
Nguyen sources the Leprinonia grasses in Long An and Kiên provinces in the Mekong Delta, an agricultural powerhouse in southern Vietnam. That's also where her production is.
During Green Joy's peak production periods, women make up about 70% of the workforce, and they harvest grasses and handle production tasks. That is because our production requires people with high attention to details, precision, meticulousness, and can handle the tough jobs of sorting, cleaning, and packaging the chores. Male workers, on the other hand, drive the chores or operate machines that cut and refine the raw materials, which is more technical.
A predominantly female workforce also help her realize the bigger picture of the local community.
Women in the Mekong Delta and farmers in the Mekong Delta tend to take it day by day and not think too far ahead. My employees have never bought insurance, but insurance is really important. So I provide basic essential insurance coverage, including unemployment insurance, health insurance for my workers. They can use it for medical treatment and they wouldn't have to spend a large sum of money in order to cover medical bills for unexpected accidents. It's bring me a lot of joy seeing them having access to basic insurance packages that can help them in times of illness or accidents. It's like a small contribution to their peace of mind.
Hey, you're listening to the Descendants of Habachung podcast. Okay, before we move on, let me contextualize the story for you. Nguyen's initiative to use grass straws and plastic alternatives falls within the realm of circular economy, and she proposes solutions to reduce waste pollution, but also to generate natural resources in the Mekong Delta, which the region has a lot of. These efforts run parallel with increasingly more efforts to reduce carbon emissions and efforts to mitigate climate change effects around the world. That's exactly what Trần Thị Thoa, our next guest, is working on. She's the visionary behind MGreen, a fascinating social enterprise that uses apps to solve waste problems.
Nhiều người hiểu nó có thể giống như ve chai công nghệ trong giai đoạn đầu.
So we created an app that connects individual users and waste collectors, and another app for waste collectors and waste buyers. So through the point system in the app, when a user sorts the waste in their house and hands over the recyclables to a waste collector, the user then earns point, or they can convert them to cash. With these points, they can shop at thousands of shops partnering with our company.
Back in 2018, when Thoa started MGreen, the idea of using an app to help people sort their trash and change their behavior around trash was pretty new. In Vietnam, people usually just toss all their garbage into one bin without separating it. This means stuff can be recycled, get mixed up with food scrap and other junk. VN Express, one of Vietnam's most read media outlets, recently reported that Vietnam began implementing waste classification measures 20 years ago, but failed miserably because of a lack of support from residents, waste collectors, and authorities.
Khi bắt đầu phát triển ứng dụng cũng là lúc mà cái xu hướng về sử dụng công nghệ.
When we were brewing this idea, it was when people started talking more about living a greener life, having technological solutions, and how we should all separate our trash. It gave us a boost to develop the apps.
Thoa has a very ambitious goal to cut down around 1 million tons of CO2 emissions by separating trash and gathering over 1 million tons of recyclable waste. But how does recycling that much waste help reduce so much CO2?
Cái việc CO2 này là dựa trên tính toán của nhóm theo cái dữ liệu của cơ quan Bộ Tài nguyên Môi trường Mỹ.
So this calculation comes from our team's analysis, using data from the US Environmental Protection Agency and data from Vietnam Environment Administration. To put it simply, if 1 ton of waste gets buried or burned, it releases about 1 ton of carbon dioxide. So if we can help people recycle that much waste instead of letting it end up in landfills or being incinerated, that helps cut down on carbon emissions.
Right now, MGreen is operating in 3 cities, Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, and Huế. And this is how they are achieving their goal.
So people can join in 3 different ways, all via the apps. First of all, by going to our locations. They can take their recyclables to MGreen house locations, which are often open on weekends or every couple of weeks. It's like a recycling buyback center where our staff will take their recyclables and they can earn points to exchange for gifts right there. Or they can choose a home pickup. If they've got over 5 kilograms of recyclables, they can schedule a home pickup. Waste collectors come right to their door and they can choose to get points or cash from them. We also have a pilot project going where we install smart trash bins in Ho Chi Minh City and Huế. Users can earn points each time they sort their waste, bringing them to the bin and place them accordingly and scan a QR code on the bin. It really depends on the bin, but you can get anywhere from 300 to 3,000 points per scan. Usually, 1 point is worth about 1 Vietnamese đồng.
In Vietnam, sorting and recycling waste at home has been spoken about as a matter of duty, morality, and conscious behavior. But Thoa thinks that to help make this become a habit for people, she needs to treat them like customers and meet their needs.
When people didn't care about sorting waste or didn't get why it mattered or how to do it, the app offered an info session on how to sort waste and why it's beneficial. For example, users can check the app to see how many points a paper towel or plastic cup is worth. They select the items and quantify and share a code with the app. Waste collectors then, based on that info, give them the gifts that are equivalent to the points or give them cash. Even for government agencies, this can be useful because the app can show them how efficient the system is and they can also see the transactions in real time. I also want to point out that most of the waste collectors that are working for us are women, about 70 to 80% of them. With this app, they don't need to manually calculate the amount of waste they receive. It saves them from making unexpected errors, and it limits cash payments. So this means it can be safer for them and help them generate more waste collection orders and increase their income.
Women make up the majority of the informal waste collection workforce in Vietnam, but they often get discriminated against because their job is considered a low-lying job, which is an outrageous idea when they are experts in waste management and deserve more respect. Vietnam has been working on legitimizing their work for years, especially with the waste pollution crisis going on. The UNDP is doing a lot to support these women and get them the recognition they deserve from authorities, organizations, and regular people. These workers will become even more important with the new Extended Producer Responsibility or EPR policy coming into effect in January 2025. The idea is simple. Polluters should pay for the pollution they cause. It will make companies that produce or import plastic packaging either collect their waste or pay a fee to the Vietnam Environment Protection Fund.
We've managed to legitimize almost all of the waste collectors we work with by giving them ID cards, making them our formal employees. We pay them a part-time income because they also have other jobs. If they want social insurance, we make sure they can. They also participate in forums, meetings, and recognition ceremonies where they can share their opinions and perspectives. They even give us direct feedback on how to improve our waste collection and sorting processes.
While women make up the majority of the informal waste collection workforce, some men also do it. But according to the UNDP's report about the plastic value chain in Vietnam published last August, male workers in this field say they usually do it at night because they don't want to be seen. They see themselves as above this kind of work, and they don't see waste collection as a respectable job for them to be proud of.
We also make sure that our workers wear MGreen uniforms when they do home pickups to build trust. This way they look and feel more like formal employees and important members of our team. When they find that users have incorrectly mixed recyclable waste and organic waste together, they guide them on how to sort it properly next time. If the sorting is wrong, the value of the recyclables drops, directly affecting their income and wasting time since they have to separate it again before they can sell it. As formal employees, they have the organization's support and their voices carry a lot of weight.
That's the end of today's episode. We hope you'll come back and listen for more about how women in Vietnam are turning the tide against environmental pollution and climate change effects. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.